Let me see. I'm hitting go live again. It was showing me it was live already. Now it says end stream. So are we live now on YouTube?
Not yet. Give it a second. Oh, here it goes. There. Now we're live.
All right. Well, y'all missed the whole intro. You have to go. I'll upload
Steve,
the
we're
whole.
here.
I have to go back and upload the whole video and delete out this live one. I'm sorry for you guys that missed out on the front end. Something happened right as we were going live, and it popped up a window. It would not let me access the button to go live, and I rebooted that window and hit go live, and it showed us live. And it showed the feed on my end, but Doug and everybody else says they couldn't see it. So I rebooted it again, and it's apparently working now.
Yep, it's up now.
All right.
All
I
right.
am
So,
sorry. I apologize.
oh
And
no, we're good. We're good. We're good.
we're working over here on Rumble. Looks like we're doing live over here on Rumble. So if anybody's over there, please let us know that you're getting the feed over there as well. We would appreciate it.
Steve and Brian both say they see it now, so we're good.
All right. So sorry. Sorry about that.
So let's see what else. What else have I been doing?
You done a lot of stuff.
I've been got attacked by a rattlesnake. That was fun. Oh, then we haven't talked since we went to Iraqi vet shoot. We did get to
No,
do that.
no.
We met up in Martin, Georgia, a couple weeks ago, and
Shh. Can't say where, man.
huh?
Can't say where. Can't say
That's that's past.
where.
um, well, we got to see our buddy up there anyway, and a bunch of
Buddies.
our buddies,
Whole bunch of them.
actually, and it was a good time.
Yep.
Some pretty good gun stuff up there, and got to shoot a few fun toys.
Yeah.
Had a good time. Got to spend time with you and Gunner for a little while.
Yeah.
I won a a 3D print
Oh
of
man, I forgot. I got the stuff that goes in that thing.
the
Uh,
Tannerite.
I don't know what it is. It's a little vial about this big. It's in my truck. I probably ought to get it out before it explodes. But I meant to
It's for
drop it off on the way back through, and I was so focused on getting home, I didn't even remember. It's some
so
kind of
somebody
bottle of
somebody
green stuff that you're supposed to splatter out everywhere or something.
is it that or Tannerite?
I don't think it's tannerite. I think it's a liquid. Unless it's a liquid tannerite, I don't know. But
That that
it's a
hole
vial
in the
of
top of
green.
his head looks like it would set a little bottle of Tannerite in it. Perfect.
Is it? I don't think tannerite's liquid, is it? It's mine's
No, it's
powder.
not liquid. Yeah, it's a
This is
powder.
liquid. I think it's like you hit it and green stuff flies out of it, like
Oh, cool.
slime or something. But
But it's a bust of Vladimir Putin that
Putin.
somebody 3D printed with it's for shooting.
Yeah, it's a target.
Take it to the range. It is. So I won that, and but we had a good time. Let's see, have we been on since? I'm not sure if we've been on since I talked about getting the 4100 radio from you. We're gonna go to the ham side for just a minute. I picked up an ICOM 4100 from you,
Yep.
and I got it installed in the truck. I got my antenna mounted. I got everything up and running, and I had it in there all of 2 weeks,
I don't think
and
that long.
it was probably 2 weeks. I run it for a while. I ran it long enough to realize that that thing was so small that I couldn't see the faceplate very well.
You need to
Uh,
go and get you some glasses, Doug. Join the
well,
rest
I
of
was
us old
driving.
folks.
I was driving. It was too
They,
small
they
while I
make
was
they
driving.
make these things at the bottom where you can just raise your head up. You can see it.
And they make these other cool things too. They're called big radios. So for my birthday, my wife and children, I gotta give them credit, give them props. They chipped in on it as well.
Oh,
But I picked up an ICOM 5100
woohoo!
and put in and got it mounted up. And let me tell you, dude, I'm getting pretty good at bending kydex. I
Yeah,
can, I got that stuff down to an art now and got it in the truck. And I've been running it. I love the dual band side where I can do, you know, D star on one side and I can run, FM on the other. It's it makes it so much better, and it's big enough that I can see it,
yeah,
when I'm driving. And if I need to look down at it for a second just to see, which side I'm on.
yep.
But it works good. I'm enjoying it and having a good time. And I got a buddy. Well, you know Aaron that
Mhm.
uh, N4ARY, a friend of mine down here. He posted a video the other day. It was pretty cool. He was on his way to work, and I guess the space station was coming over, and he hit it,
Yeah.
and out of his truck with his 4100, and they came back and answered him back and talked to him over the radio. And he got it. He actually was able to capture it on video, so it was pretty cool. Uh, I want to be able to do that. I want to do that one time just to say that I was able to do it.
I've done it with my HD.
You talked to him?
No, I didn't talk. I sent up the whatever you call it,
You said the
APRS.
APRS.
Yeah, but now I've not actually got to physically talk to him. I mean, yeah, talk to him on the radio. When I got into it big, it was all about doing the APRS and making contact that way. They'd run it with being able to talk for a while, then they do pictures for a while, then they cycle through, and then they do the APRS linking up. But I've got a arrow beam antenna, directional antenna that I used, and
Hmm.
I hit it. I don't know, like 3 or 4 nights in a row there when it was coming over the house pretty regular. But when it was going over, I went out to my truck and turned it on to see if I could hit it while I was in Florida. It was coming over, and I could never get it. Where I was at was down between two buildings, so I was sort of blocked in. I should have went out somewhere in the open, but I was parked down between two condos towers, and so I didn't have much of a chance. But that's cool
Larry,
stuff, man.
yeah, it was very cool. And Larry actually sent me a new file the other day for the 5100 that's got the International Space Station, some satellites, and something else, already in the file, so I can drop into the radio. So I'm gonna try to hit him and see if I can talk to him as well one of these days. So it was kind of cool. Um, let's see what else have we, man, what have we been up to? A
All
little bit
kinds
of
of stuff.
everything.
I stopped and visited with you after we went to the range day. Spent the
Yeah,
night
you
at your
did.
house.
You did. Came through and got to visit for a little bit,
Saw my
and
new truck.
I did get to see your new truck. It is nice.
I
I was
like
imp-
it.
I was impressed with my one radio in my truck, and I was thoroughly impressed with all the radios and everything else you had set up in your truck. It was
Uh, you haven't seen it since I put that laptop in there. Now.
no.
I had a tablet in there, and the tablet kept on having trouble running Wires X, and so I ended up buying a refurbished $199 laptop, 10-inch laptop off of Tiger Direct. I think had Windows 10 already installed on it, and loaded up Wires X. Man, it runs like a top. I ain't missed a beat since. So I guess a tablet.
Nice.
I don't know. I think it's all it has to do is it only has one connection port, and it's one of those little fire ports instead of I don't know. It's not fire port. It's like the tablet plugs,
Mhm.
and you had to put adapters. So I had audio in and out adapter, USB, and also had the Wires X USB into another adapter, which went into that one slot, and then it had one audio in and out plug. And I think it was just too much trying to get through that thing. It kept on, it would kick out, it wouldn't last very long. I did find out why I kept having kickouts. So like every 10 minutes, I would lose all my connection. I'm like, what's going on here? And I got in there and dug around in the menus and found out that there's a timeout timer. If you don't turn it off, it or if it's set at 10 minutes, I guess it's preset at 10 minutes. And so I turned that to unlimited, and I never had a problem after that staying
Mhm.
connected. But yeah, that's enough ham radio stuff, I guess, for the people. Everybody else that don't, hearing the ham radio is like, come on, get on with it. What else did you do?
Man, I don't even know. That's about the highlight. Tomorrow's opening day of deer season with a rifle.
Yeah,
I went last weekend with a muzzle loader and didn't see nothing. But uh, come to find out, the corn feeder was not working right, and so we had to work on that and got it all fixed up. And now they're everywhere. So tomorrow's opening day rifle. So I'm going to put the Browning X bolt on them, and I'm going to let it eat. See what comes out. There's a coyote that's been coming out every day about 10 o'clock. and he cuts across the food plot that I'm hunting on. And if he shows up tomorrow, he's gonna get busted. One last coyote in this world.
Yeah. We haven't seen very many coyotes. I've looked for them. I haven't seen very many at all. Uh, right here. Did see a lot of deer today. I was very surprised about that because I hadn't seen any in a long time. I mean, I've seen a couple big does, just a single doe here or there, not any bucks. And before the show, I was sitting on the back porch enjoying the sunset, and a herd of deer come up across the alfalfa field, and I was trying to count them, and they were so spread out I couldn't see. So I got up with my phone and camera. I was going to try to take a picture or video of them, and they spotted me before I could get up to where I could see them, and they took off across the alfalfa field. So I caught their tails jumping across the alfalfa field over in our cornfield. Just got combine last week, so I'm sure they're eating all kinds of dropped ears of corn and corn that fell on the ground. They're going to be
Mm-hmm.
fat and sassy from now until December, probably, with all that corn out there. But glad to see them. So, has that got your stuff?
That's me, man. What you been up to?
On the God side, of course, daily Bible reading. We joined South Fork. I think I've told y'all we had been attending South Fork, it's a church that pretty much been family's church since we moved to LaRue County in 1981. And I was a member there until we moved to Glasgow in 2009, 10. I can't remember if it was 9. I think it was 10. And we moved our membership down to Glasgow at Calvary. And then we'd been attending several churches around, trying to find something that maybe fit the kids better, things like that. Offered some more things, and you know, I was going to the men's prayer group with South Fork because I served as deacon with those guys for years, and I was we were helping them with their Bible school, and just it's 2 miles from my house, and so
Mm-hmm.
I'm like. I told Chris, I said, the kids, I don't know if they want to go to another church which got more stuff for their age group. They can do that. They're old enough. They're adults, except for Audrey. She's our youngest. She's soon to be 17, so she's going to be adult before you know it. But we talked about it. We had some reservations, and we want to support the kids, but at the same time, they have to make their own decisions. And
Yep.
so we went ahead and joined South Fork and jumped in. We haven't got into a small group yet. That'll be the next step. They have a new members class. We had to attend a mandatory new members class. I was probably the only new member there that had been a member for 30 years before,
Right.
before rejoining. But it feels like home. I mean, a lot of the people that were there when we left are gone. Either they moved to another church, they passed on. Most of the older group that we grew up with are all gone. Uh, there's just a couple left, and but I still know probably 60% of the church there, and learning the new people, and they're learning us, and so it feels good to have a church home again, to be planted in, and getting back to work, because I need to get plugged in somewhere. I've been floating around since I resigned my position at Calvary. I guess it was in March, and in earnest we started trying to find a good church. And there's plenty of good churches out there. I'm not knocking any of them. It just being 2 miles from your church and being able to be a part of the community that you live in, I didn't feel comfortable. The reason we left Calvary, it wasn't because of the people at Calvary at all. We loved the people there and enjoyed everything about it. It's just a matter that you need to be a local church so you can be part of that community. You can support each other and help each other out, and you won't be having an excuse. So I don't want to drive hour round trip to go to church. So that's what we did. Enough about that. Yeah, we done talked about. Went to Florida and got most of the probate stuff done with my parents' uh, properties and all that stuff. That's almost all wrapped up. Just a couple little loose ends to tie up. Worked on the condo. It had some repairs that needed to be made. It had a water leak, and it had some really outdated things. And so we worked on that, and we got people working on that now while we're gone. On the EDC, my night vision, man. I sent back brackets and ordered supposedly the right brackets. They came in, they're not the right. So I'm just going to have to get on the phone with Optics Plant guys. I talked to them at Iraqi Veteran Shoot. They were there. They said, "Hey,
Yep.
hit us up and we'll help you out any way we can." So we appreciate that offering of help, and so we'll just have to get on the phone with them and see if we can figure that out. Let's see. On the gun side, I have not heard anything back on the suppressors I've put I've purchased, but waiting on the government to tell me I'm a good enough citizen to own them. Uh, I've not heard
Good luck.
anything back on. Let's see. I think that's about it. I my short list guns right now is a Henry 4570 side gate loading all weather rifle. I've had one order for 2 years. It has not come in yet, and they got to shoot one down there at Iraqi Veteran, and man, I loved it. I got pumped 5 rounds through it, but they had suppress. They had one. They had that one suppressed. Man,
Yep.
that was a blast. Of course, it's like 7 feet long, but it was fun to shoot, and man, it just makes me want one more. But that's the only thing really on my short list right now is just that 4570 lever action, just the nostalgia, and I love that 4570 round. I've got all the reloading dies, brass, bullets, and powder here too, and primers to load 4570. I just don't have a 4570 right now, and man, they're just everybody wants them for some reason right now. I don't know what the deal is, but gonna keep my eye open for one of them. You guys see one, message me or something. Let me know if you find it because even on Gunbroker, they're just astronomically overpriced. On the farm side, corn's in, soybeans are all done here at this location. There are other 40 acres up the road is not done yet. They got planted a little bit later, so that's done. All the hay's in the barn. Cows are happy. They've got lots of pasture to eat on until probably it snows because I've got I've only got 9 head right now, and 3 of them are baby calves still in the mamas. So uh, I'm a very small beef farmer, but we just raise them to eat, and they just eat grass. They don't eat any kind of GMO stuff. So they are all doing well and growing like crazy. And that's pretty much the farm stuff. EDC check carrying the XR 920 Shadow Systems XR 920. I have upgraded my light. I have gone to the Streamlight. I forget what model it is, but it's the. I don't know if you can see it here. Oh, I'm still over a Rumble, way behind here. It is the Streamlight, and it is about the size of the Surefire 300, but it is infrared and light, and it's infrared laser. So in total darkness, I have a laser and I have illumination that no one else can see unless they've got night vision.
Oh,
So that is now my carry gun, and I am in dire need of a new holster crossbreed. So it's I've still got the Super Tuck that you guys sent me probably 5 years ago, uh, and I have used all the parts I've got for my other Super Tucks to keep it alive, but the Kydex is not going to last much longer because I wear every single day.
yep.
I wear my crossbreed holster every single day, and I get about 2 to 2.5 years out of them. And then the Kydex just is so worn from wearing them every single day and drawing out of the holster and practicing uh, that you will, if you use your tools, you will wear them out. You have to replace them from time to time. And right now, they're not offering an XR920 option. They had ordered a blue gun to make the mold for it, but as of right now, they are not offering that as an option. Although they do have the full size version and the Glock 19 size version, and all the other stuff you guys heard it 100 times before. But that was the only upgrade on my carry that since the last time we talked. What you got on tonight?
I have I got the little Pig Sig P365
Yeah.
with the night sights and stuff on it. I tell you what, I like this little gun. It's easy to carry, it's easy to conceal, and yes, I too could use a new crossbreed holster. I want a mini tuck for it, and I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna put it in one of those. Um, but I like the gun, you know. And as of right at the moment, I have not got my eye on any guns that
Well,
I just desperately need or want. I just got a new radio, so I figured I'd just chill out for a little bit.
yeah. Uh, I'm of the same fare. I bought night vision, so I really shouldn't buy anything else for like the next 6 months to a year, or maybe longer.
Yeah, you never know.
Never know. I don't
Something
know.
something will come along. I'll get a good deal on.
Yeah.
Somebody will hit me up.
Well, I've had some feedback, but it wasn't anything worthy of discussing. It's mostly like, when you all gonna have another show? Yeah, it was mostly from Eric, who wears me out on. I love you, Eric. It's fine. I'm just aggravating. Let's see. I didn't get any thing about we're doing something wrong, or other than we're just not being here. You got us a joke
I do.
or two jokes.
I got two in here tonight because I went back to the blonde jokes for today.
Kristen's not a blonde right now, so you're okay.
She is not, so she won't yell at me. So two blondes living in Oklahoma were sitting on a bench. One blonde says to the other, "Which do you think is further away, Florida or the moon?" The other blonde looks at her and says, "Well, I can't see Florida." It makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
It's all line of sight, just like radio.
It
If
is.
if you're
What you can
not
see.
if you're running 2 meter or 440, it's line of sight, guys. HF, you can bounce off the ionosphere and the moon, and you might. But
Wind up anywhere.
yep.
So the second one, a blonde asked her coworker, "Do you have any kids?" "Yes," she replied. "I have one child that's just under two." The blonde looked at her and said, "I might be blonde, but I know how many one is."
So I have to tell a joke of my grandmother, who is no longer with us. When we were, I wasn't with them, but my wife and my mom and dad and her were traveling in Europe on this wild trip. They went all over Europe, and my grandmother looks up in the sky at the moon and says, "Wow, that looks just like the moon back in Kentucky." It's you think that's you think that's the same moon?
It probably
To which
is.
my wife and my father looked at each other. Yeah, I think it is.
It's
But she
probably
wasn't blonde, and she
the
wasn't,
exact same one.
and she wasn't idle minded. It's just she just. I guess it never occurred to her that the moon is the same on the other side of the planet.
Uh,
I think she only went to the fifth grade, maybe in school, but she wasn't dumb. If anybody knew my grandmother, she was not a dumb person. It just was off those things you say. And I think after she said, she's like, "Hmm, I just sound like an idiot from Kentucky."
that was kind of dumb. Hmm.
This day in history, you got another thing here for us.
I do. This day in history, in 1833, Swedish chemist, engineer, and industrialist Alfred Nobel, who invented dynamite and other powerful explosives, and who also founded the Nobel Prizes, was born in Stockholm. Happy
Well,
birthday.
how about that? That's dynamite.
Dynamite.
Dynamite. Who was it? JJ?
J.J. Walker.
JJ Walker. Dynamite. Yeah, that goes back some years. That's what, 70s? JJ Walker?
Oh, yeah.
That'd be the 70s.
Easy.
I wonder whatever happened to JJ Walker.
He's still around.
Oh, is he?
Hmm.
I haven't watched regular television in so long. I wouldn't. I don't know what's on it anymore. If I watch TV, it's either a movie that is about something I care about, or it's a YouTube video about how to do something. That's about all I ever any kind of video I ever watch anymore. But the Nobel Prize now is given to people like Obama, who was
Didn't do anything.
elected to office. We think he was elected to office. Uh, oh, we might
Steve
get.
said
We
J.J.
might get.
Walker does Medicaid commercials now, or Medicare commercials now.
Oh, does he? I wouldn't even know who he is.
He
Probably.
still looks exactly the same,
Oh,
just a
does he?
little older. Hmm.
Well, yeah, he has to be a lot over. He has to be 70s now, I'd say.
She probably, yeah, probably close.
Dynamite. All right. Bible verse tonight. We're going to be in Romans 13, 1 through 7. You guys have heard this verse before, but I'm going to elucidate on it if I can get it up here where I can read it. I've got a. There it is. Oh, there we go. Submission to authority is what it says here. It's the title. Let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. So, God is who institutes government. Therefore, whoever resists the authorities resists what God has appointed, and those who resist will incur judgment, for the rulers are not a terror to good conduct, but to bad. Would you have no fear of the one who is in authority? Then do what is good, and you will receive his approval. For he is God's servant for your good, but if you do wrong, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain. For he is a servant of God, an avenger who carries out God's wrath on wrongdoer. Therefore, one must be in subjection, not only to avoid God's wrath, but also for the sake of conscience. For because of for because of this, you also pay taxes. For the authorities are ministers of God, attending to this very thing. Pay to all what is owed to them. Taxes to whom taxes are owed, and revenue to whom revenue is owed, respect to whom respect is owed, and honor to whom honor is owed. Now, this is a very controversial verse, and I will explain why. Well, most of y'all know. But so the types of rulers at the time this was written were Romans and the local governing authorities, which were the Jewish kings. And so they were like two levels of government there, right? You had the local government that was run by the king, who was allowed to be in power because the Romans had him under their thumb. And so they enacted taxes on the money, right? The money that was used at the time that this was written was, the Roman coin. And so you remember Jesus said, they said, should we not pay taxes? And he, of course, said, let me see a coin. And they said, whose image is on this coin, right? And it said, well, it's Caesar's. Well, pay it, render to Caesar's what is Caesar's, but render to God what is God's. And so, in every aspect of government, we should be acting within the law, and we should be lawful citizens. We should not be we should not be committing crimes. And what are crimes? Crimes are the things that we find in the Ten Commandments: don't kill, steal, don't bear false witness. All the Ten Commandments. Those are the basis for law in almost every country, right? Those are things that keep a society, and not a democracy or strongman rule. We all agree to a compact of laws, and those laws are pretty much all established upon biblical principles. Now, when you have a corrupt government, when you have a government who is ruling against the will of the people, what are we supposed to do then? Well, we render to Caesar what's Caesar's, and we render to God what's God. So if things that are affecting our faith, we will go to the cross, as it were, to defend the things that we believe about life, liberty, and all the things that God has gifted us, those gifts of God. we're going to be martyred, or we're called to be martyred, to stand upon what the Bible says, what Scripture says, what we're taught. But in the things to do with commerce and to deal with other people and to deal with infrastructure and things like that, we have to sort of go with what the government says. Now, what's that got to do with what you're talking about tonight, Troy? Well, we're uniquely placed. Those of us who were born in America or who have migrated here and became citizens, we're self-governed. So we're governed by people who we choose to rule over us and for a limited period of time. And with that, we are in essence the government. We, the people, retain all rights not granted by the Constitution. And so when they act outside of the limits of their government, then they are outside the rule of law. They are lawless. They are doing things that are not accepted under the Constitution. Therefore, they are outside of their ability to rule. Now, what I'm saying is controversial uh, to some people. And I've had preachers tell me, no, no matter what they do, we have to take it. And I'm like, well, they can kill me. I understand that. And they can take everything I have. I understand that. They have the right to do what they want to do, but they have the ability to do what they want to do. They don't have the given right because we, the people, have limited their rights through the Constitution. Our ancestors, established that. So when you have a constant, continual encroachment to try to take you from being a citizen and make you a servant, then they're totally outside of their charter, right? What they were given, what their powers that they were invested with. When they step outside that, when we have the right to say, hey, you're not obeying your part of the law. Even in the Old Testament, when you had bad kings, God allowed them to come under persecution and turn into wild animals and roam around eating grass because they what acted outside of their authority, outside of the bounds of which God allowed, and by doing that, then they incurred God's wrath. And so, God will judge evil rulers, and we have plenty of them right now, and God's going
Mm-hmm.
to judge them. And we have to pray and trust that God will do what He says He'll do, and eventually that will be taken care of. But in the meantime, we have a civic duty, and the civic duty is to stand against things that are wrong, stand against unconstitutional laws, stand against the taking of innocent life through abortion, through genocide, through democide, where the government's killing people by forcing them to do things that is not good for them and will kill them. Uh, we have to take a stand as believers on the things that are of God, right? The things that God did not grant to government. So when we have bad government, we should stand. And it's not easy. They try to use fear and intimidation, just like any gang. The two parties in politics right now are Republicans and Democrats, or socialist Democrats, or communist Democrats, or just communists is probably the appropriate term for it. And so you have two opposing sides. But if you want to think about it in reality, there are two gangs, right? Give us money and we will protect your rights. Give us money and we'll give you rights you don't really get unless you give us money and support us. And we will take things from those people and give it to you. These are two mostly diametrically opposed sides of our government system, but they're both gangs. Republicans, mostly the rhinos, we're talking about the ruling class, the Republican Party, and the Democrats and the Democrat Party are diametrically opposed. And I'm not trying to make this political, but our lives are involved in politics, especially when they are now telling us that they're going to teach our children sex in school. They're going to provide abortions without telling the parents about it. They're going to
Yeah.
sex change kids. I mean, you got some really whack in the head people out there that are trying to force pure evil onto our children. and we have to stand in the gap. We have to defend innocent life. We have to be willing to be martyred to defend life and liberty, and uh, not necessarily because of our wealth, but they are seeking it more and more to take away our ability to create wealth, our ability to retain wealth, our ability to purchase things without get going through some kind of a process by which we're allowed to buy things or sell things. We have them trying to change our currency. If you're not paying attention, you need to wake up. So, what do Christians supposed to do in this situation? Well, this topic of tonight's thing is, emojis are not civic duty.
Correct.
Uh, Social media is a wonderful thing in some regards, but it's a horrible thing in the aspect that if you think that you're reaching everyone with your post, you're not. As we can tell you here on the show, we will
Yes.
lose hundreds and have lost thousands and thousands of people that were on our social media platforms because they just wipe them away and then they limit what you can see. So, although you feel like you're being civic and you're posting all these things, and I'm just as guilty of it. I mean, I post stuff all the time and nobody sees it. I get one like, and I've got thousands of friends, and I've got thousands and thousands of you guys out here in the Guy and Guns platforms, and I might get one like. What's happening? Well, they're not letting anybody see that, right? Anything that you think it's important you're putting out there, nobody's seeing that. And you go through and try to beat the algorithms and post people's names and link them to it and tag them in it and all that stuff. It's not making a difference.
Nah.
So it makes you feel like you've done something when you've posted something. It's a endorse. What was it? Some kind of a hit. Like, oh, I've done this. You're not done anything. You can like all the things you want to like, but the people who are opposed to you aren't going to see your likes or aren't going to see your things unless they want you to be attacked. They might open up and say, "Okay, attack him."
Hmm.
But you have to realize that uh, civic duty requires all citizens to participate in voting. All legal citizens should be voting. You should be in, and because it's affecting the church, it's affecting your children, your grandchildren, your cousins and nieces and nephews. You may say, "Oh, my vote don't count." Well, it may not count, but it's all we got outside of going to fall back on the Second Amendment, and we don't want that. If we can defeat them without having to shed blood, that's great. But when does it become too much? When they come to take your children out of your home, they're already doing that. When it comes to teaching your kids things that is abnormal, deviant, and disgusting as normal, they're already doing that. Then they are seizing your assets and putting you in prison because they don't want you to speak. They're already doing that. We're on a bad path, and there are a lot more of us than there are them. No matter what you think, whatever, how much media, propaganda they put down your throat, it is an overwhelming number of us who love life, liberty, and our pursuit of happiness. But I'm just warning you that social media is a false promise.
Right.
You think you're reaching people, but you're not. You're not. You're not getting out there. You're not. I know for a fact on all the different platforms, even the new platforms, they're so hard to work and navigate and get any kind of audience. And I know that the people who own the ability to connect the internet from one place to another, that they can throttle that stuff even so you can't even get into these servers of these other social media platforms. It is all being manipulated and controlled. And you're being constantly fed through television, through social media, propaganda to try to make you believe the world is different than what it is. One thing
Hmm.
I've noticed about ham radio is when I get on ham radio and talk to people in other countries with digital modes and HF, you can do that. They have the same problems in their country we have in ours, and they feel the same way about these situations. Now, it's not a political. The ham radio world is not a political animal. It's pretty much forbidden in a lot of things. If you start talking political things, it's controlled by the FCC, so they can pull your license. So we're all under, Big Brother, watching and listening and telling us what we can say, what we can do, or limiting who we can talk and say to. But you know who you can talk to. You can go outside your door, go to your neighbor, and go to the neighbor on that side, and you can go to people, talk to people at church. You can go to people at the grocery store. You can go to local uh, political rallies. You can go to local political people running for office and go out and help campaign with them. If you don't get outside of your house and get off the computer and get out from behind the television, you're not gonna reach anybody. You're not gonna
Yep.
be effective. You're gonna be wasting your time and your effort, and you're gonna elude yourself into believing that you're part of a majority, and when you're not, because the majority is being completely shadowed and covered. So if we're going to affect change, we have to do it one person at a time, just like we do with the gospel. We have to go out and we have to share the good news of the gospel one person at a time. Now we can share it here on this platform. We can talk about, what it is to be a person who is saved, a person who has come to experience what it means to no longer be under the debt of sin and death, and we are now free to live through Christ. We can explain that here to a degree, but for how long? When will they shut that down? Because what's going on now is a systematic shutdown of all the systems of communication, and all we're going to be left with is word of mouth. And so if you don't get out and talk to your neighbors and get out and go to your community and be involved in community charities, be involved in the church should be in charge of charity. The government has no authority to issue charity, none. But it's used that to create a whole dependent class that they are able to completely control and manipulate. And what they want is to completely control and manipulate all of us. And if they get a hold of the monetary system where they can digitize that and you can't buy or sell unless you have a good credit score like they do in China, what you going to do then when you got to feed your family and you can't buy any food, or you need to go to work and you can't get any fuel, or you can't go to work because you don't fit the right criteria to be hired by major corporations? We know
Right.
what the end game is. We know Jesus has already won, but the devil's going to try to take as many people with him and discourage as many of people he can until the time in which Jesus returns, and all those people will be judged. But it is upon us as believers to stand in the gap. It's upon us to defend life. It's upon us to speak about what the truth is against people who are trying to deceive and destroy our generations of children and grandchildren coming up behind us. Because if we don't fight for it, they will be totally in prison. If we don't stand in the gap, be willing to be martyred to stand, because we see people. Steve Bannon was put in prison for 4 months because he wouldn't go before Congress and
Right.
testify for something he had nothing to do with. I mean, I'm not trying to be political. I know Steve Bannon's a polarizing person, but when you just have people just get arrested because they won't come before a committee in the Congress, I don't think they have the right to do that. But I don't think it's constitutional, because they have to prove that he has done something wrong, and he hadn't done anything wrong, so he didn't have to go prove it. They had to bring the case against him, and they just charged him with not going and testify. I don't want to get down that road, but you can see if they want to come after you, they come after you. The January 6th, there's people still sitting in prison, never had a court date, still sitting in prison for a misdemeanor, not a felony, a misdemeanor, still sitting in prison. Lost their jobs, losing their houses, separated from the families because they didn't like the fact that people came and supported a president that won. I mean, oh, yep, what did I say? So that's the world we live in, and it's not fun. and it wasn't fun when our grandparents went and fought in World War II and died, and to try to preserve life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It wasn't fun when my great 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 grandfathers and uncles and ancestors fought in the Revolutionary War or fought in the Civil War. They all had to sacrifice during their time, and we're going to have to sacrifice. Hopefully, not in a war, but hopefully we can do it through the winning over the hearts and minds of people through reason, logic, and the truth of the scriptures, right? And
Hmm.
so I just want to encourage you, if you're putting your faith in social media, you're just playing the game of the enemy because and I'm been guilty of it. I've back in the early days, yeah, you could get people to like your stuff and share it and stuff like that, but you might get one person sees something that you know should be reaching thousands of people, but they just keep they, they've got it all down to a program, man. They just say, okay, we're going to isolate that guy, and he ain't gonna get nobody. And, okay, this one's saying stuff we like, so we're going to make that one. Because I'm getting stuff from people that are just idiots. Like
Oh yeah.
in my feed, I'm like, why is this person getting any playtime? And it's because they're programming you. They don't call it television programming for nothing. They've been trying to change your worldview for a long time, and they've been very successful at it because a lot of people in the church are totally worldview. They don't have a biblical worldview because they get more feed from television and Hollywood and uh, debauchery than they do from the scriptures because they'll spend 40 hours a week watching television. They'll spend 15, 20 minutes at a sermon once a week. And they're probably on their social media while the pastor's preaching. Then, oh, did I step on some toes?
Mm.
Okay. So, but you guys are you're the choir here. You know what I'm talking about. But get out and spread it to other people, and don't expect that your post you send them a direct message to or any of that stuff is going to. It may never get there, and you won't know if it ever gets there or not unless you just follow up with everybody. Hey, did you get this? And people are busy, and they're like, "Well, I ain't got time to read that." And if they don't get caught by the first 5 seconds of whatever it is, they'll click to scan onto something else.
Hmm.
People's attention spans are about that of a gnat right now because I was in Florida and I am not used to. I don't drive in town a whole lot. I mean, I live out in a rural area, and people out here are still, squirrely, crazy driving. They're always in a hurry and looking on their phones. But I had forgotten how bad it is until I was down in Florida and people blowing horns, passing each other in no passing zones, and cutting people off and pulling out in front of you. And people are wound tight, guys. I am telling you, they are ready to pop, and they don't have any patience to listen to anybody or any patience to wait for anything. They want instant gratification. And so to sit down and talk to somebody takes some dedication of your time and it takes dedication of their time, but it'll be well worth it. And Doug
Hmm.
and I talked about this many times before. We were pretty much the two country guys sitting on the porch talking over about God and guns and social issues and things like that. We appreciate you joining us. Doug, I have just totally monologued that, so come on in here and give your 50 cents worth.
Oh, you're spot on, man. Just like we've said it time and time again. Um, I can post happy birthday to somebody and get 150 likes and
Yep,
comments and everything else on it. I post something political, whether it's true or not, and it's usually true. Like I posted something from CDC website, straight off their website.
yep,
I got popped for false narrative, and not one person saw it. I can say one controversial thing
yep.
about Biden or anybody else, and I get zero likes, zero comments, and I got enough wise butted friends that comment on stuff when I post it out there. Then I know somebody sees it, and then when nobody posts and comments on it, they didn't see it,
They ain't seen it.
and I have to tell them, hey, go to my site and look at this. Let's try to break the algorithm and see if we can get it out there. And they're like, "Oh, you got a lot of stuff on there that I haven't seen." I'm like,
Yep.
"Yeah, no kidding."
Yep. Hey, and run for local office. Doug's ran for local office and won. I've ran for local office, didn't win, but Doug's more likable than I am. But run for local office. If nothing else, it gives people another option to vote for instead of a career politician.
Hmm.
I know it's taking of your time, but it's part of being sacrificing for your civic duty to your country because we are governed by we the people. And so you have to be involved in the process. If you leave it up to people who are gaming the system to make lots of money off of it, like these career politicians, that's what's gotten us where we're at. And so they're going to default to whoever will give them more money. If it's the Chinese government or if it's Ukrainian kickbacks or whatever it is, there's a you got to get out there and do it. Support, you got good people in your community that are trying to run, support them, give them money. I mean, it's an investment in your future. It's an investment in your kids' future. It's an investment in your grandchildren and all the prosperity that comes after you is hinged upon you standing in the gap, guys. We're to lay down our lives for our friends, and that means that we have to stand against evil. And evil from the government, evil from Hollywood, evil from wherever it comes from. We're called to stand up against it. And if it be martyred, then we be martyred because we already have our hope. Our hope is in Jesus Christ. Our hope is in the heaven that He is providing for us and an eternal life that we will inherit. So don't get all wrapped up in this world thinking this is the best thing. This is just a cheap imitation of what's to come. And it's a nasty, cheap imitation at that. Look at the long game, boys and girls. Don't be looking at the short game. The short game, it goes by quick. My grandparents and parents tell me, boy, this time goes by so fast. And the older I get, boy, I agree. You don't have long on this earth, and you better make the best of it and make it make it count for heaven, not for trying to take stuff with you to the grave because it don't do any good. I can tell
Nope.
you, having lost my mom, dad, and grandmother in the last 15 months or so, uh, you can't take it with you. It's gonna be left behind, and what only counts is the investment you spent trying to seek and save the lost, and investing in the future generations to get them prepared for this world, because this world is not kind. This world is, and people say, "Oh, most people are good." No, most people are not good. Uh,
No.
Apart from what Jesus done in my life, I would be just as wicked and evil as any of the rest of those guys we fuss about. So it's because of Jesus, not because of me, that there's anything good that comes out of me at all. It's because of God's work in my life. It's not because of anything I've done or deserved or earned. I can't claim anything. Any of the good blessings of my life are from God. I cannot claim anything except for my sin and my failing and continual failing. So that's my encouragement tonight.
Hey, that's like right now. All of just about every state has opened up early voting.
Yep.
Get out and vote. I don't go early vote. I like to go the day of the election,
Yep.
and I like to vote right there and get in line and do the whole thing. So
The
that's just
trouble
me.
is in Georgia, they can go in there and change your vote if you early vote. It's whoever's putting the vote in the machine is what.
Exactly.
And if you're getting ballots, they can go, okay, he voted for Republican. Oh no, he voted for Democrat. Click. We saw that on the cameras. They were sitting there putting in whatever votes they wanted to. It don't matter how you vote early ballot. It's going right. There's nobody there reviewing those things. They're sitting in the office by themselves with boxes of them.
Get
I'm
out.
just
Get
I
out and vote
in person. I
in
wish we had to
person.
do it like they did in Iraq, where you had to, or where it was, and stick your finger in the ink and put it on a piece of paper who you're voting for, because then your fingerprints on there, and then you're marked. You can't go back and vote again unless you cut your finger off.
I hear people. I've been telling people and telling people, you got to go vote. Got to go vote. If you don't like things that are happening, got to go vote. Got to go vote.
Yep,
I like you can find the time. Dead people are getting out and voting, so
that's
you
right.
can too. Let's do it.
Dead people, people that don't exist, people are voting 6 or 7 times. You can go once. Come on.
Just once. That's all we're asking.
Some people vote in 7 or 8 different states. They get on a bus, they ride around and vote everywhere. Oh my goodness. Primary Arms, guys, check them out, and they got some cool stuff. They got all kinds of, I mean, everything for hunting, everything for shooting, all kinds of cool optics and gear. Just go over to primaryarms.com and check those guys out. You can still buy some patches and stickers. I got a few left. I need to get in the order. I keep saying that, but I need to get in the order of products. Now that all this stuff for the probate and my parents passing, all that stuff sort of on the almost at the end of that road, I can get back and doing this stuff. And I appreciate y'all's patience with us, but if you would like to buy patches and stickers, we've got a link in the show notes. Subscribestar, we've got several people that have picked up Subscribestar recently, and we really appreciate that. You go
Nice.
to subscribestar.com/god and guns. And all the money that I get in from these things pay for our website. They pay for our social media stuff that we have to do, our emails. They pay for our any kind of promotions. Us for like driving and going to these events and stuff like that. We use it for that. I rented a house down there at the thing because it was cheaper than a hotel. This last event we went to, and all that was due to you guys and our sponsors being able to do that. That's all it gets used for. I don't use it for any of my personal stuff at all. And that's what we've been doing with that stuff. You got a couple more here. Then we got the Armed Citizen of the Week.
PowerTech lights. Hey, if you're looking for a good light for hunting light, floodlight for gator hunting, which I got one and use, it worked like a champ. Or if you just need a weapons light, go check our buddies out at PowerTech Lights. And if you find something, which you probably will, use a promo code GodGuns. They'll give you 30% off for just listening to the show. So check our friends out at powertac.com. Also, Crossbreed Holsters. You've heard Troy and I both talking about it. We both talked about it tonight. That we're actually about to get new holsters for different guns that we've gotten. Um, but it pretty much doesn't matter what kind of gun you're carrying or how you want to carry it. Crossbreed makes a holster for you, or they can get one made for you, like Troy with his new light. He let them know they're going to hook him up. So go check them out, crossbreedholsters.com. Use the promo code GNG, and they will give you 10% for just listening to the show when you check out. So take advantage of that and go check our buddies out, crossbreedholsters.com.
I was just catching up on all them comments while you was
I know, right?
reading it there. Man, there are a bunch of people here. Steve in there
Yeah, we've been
commenting.
chatting it up pretty good.
Yep. All right,
So,
Armed Citizen of the Week. What you got?
so this week's armed citizen comes to us from Phoenix, Arizona. A homeowner in Phoenix, Arizona opened fire on two intruders when they allegedly tried to break into the homeowner's residence on Saturday, June 25th of 2022. Sometime between 8 a.m. that morning, the two alleged robbers attempted to break into the home, only to be encountered by the homeowner willing to defend his life and property. The homeowner fired and struck both of the intruders, who were discovered lying on the ground with gunshot wounds in the front of the home when police arrived shortly before 8 a.m. Officers carried the two wounded men, believed to be in their 20s, to an awaiting paramedics who took them to the local hospital. Both intruders, however, succumbed to their injuries. Police also said there were two other people present in the residence at the time. And that one came to us from foxnews.com in New York, New York.
New York. How about that?
A good guy with a gun actually took somebody out. That's a good story.
Yeah, it happens a whole lot more than bad guys getting
Oh
away
yeah.
with stuff. But you don't hear that because again, the narrative, right? They control what you get to see, what you get to hear, so they try to make you believe things that aren't true.
Hmm.
They are children of their father. Was it John 8:44? Liars from the beginning and murderers. All right, so let's see. I guess we're getting ready to wrap this puppy up. There was something else I was going to tell you. Oh, I'm at the end of a 3-day fast. I feel better than I've felt in a long time. For you guys that have followed me on the fasting, uh, the what else was it? Oh, sorry about that. My brain sometimes doesn't work when I'm fasting, but but I tell you this because if you've not done a fast, try it. And some people are really have sugar problems, diabetic, and you need to have your doctor monitor or approve that. I'm not giving you medical advice. What I am telling you is that I had sort of let myself go after mom's passing because I was distress eating and I gained about oh, 25 pounds in over the last for 6 months or so. And went to the doctor. He said, "Oh boy, you better get yourself straight. Better get yourself straightened out." And so I went on a keto diet and got off all of the breads and sugars. And after getting on the keto diet, I started doing intermittent fasting where I ate one meal a day. And then I attempted to do a couple 1 day fast. I did a couple 1 day fasts, but couldn't go beyond that. And I'm on a 3 day fast, and I feel great. I'm not hurting. I'm not in pain. With a lot of the stuff that I eat causes inflammation in my body. And so when I got off all that, I slept like an angel, man. I just slept, no problem at all. And my digestive system is all straightened out. My eyes have gotten clear. I am more clear in my thoughts, maybe not in my speech, but my thoughts. And so I encourage you guys, if you've not looked into fasting or tried fasting, to give it a try. I've lost 12 pounds in 3 days. And so uh, now that some of that will come back because some of that, whenever you start eating again, your gut's going to get some fill. So you're not going to keep all that off. But I'm going back to try to fast 2 to 3 days a week and see how that goes. But I'm just for you guys that have known about my fasting. I feel so much better having got off of it. Now I have to tell you that your stomach's going to battle with getting out whatever you finished up with. So if you can start cutting your diet down before you go into a full fast, it will help with your tummy issues. But I'll keep it nice and clean like that. All right, we're going to wrap this puppy up. Send your feedback to Troy at GuyGunsPodcast.com or
Doug at GotGunsPodcast.com.
please tell your friends about us and leave us an iTunes review. Like us on Facebook. I don't know if it's going to do you any good, but we appreciate it anyway.
There you go.
Subscribe, follow us on YouTube when it works, and I will try to post up the full video uh, at the end of the show tonight, so that you guys that missed the glorious beginning there can see that. Let's see. You can find us on Instagram. We got a Webkin page. We've got a Rumble page. We've got a MeWe. We got a website, GuyGunsPodcast.com. We've got a Rumble account. I may already said that, and we're live on Rumble right now. So until next time, Doug, have a blessed week.
And keep your guns close. Keep your Bibles closer. You guys have a great night and a great weekend.
Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it so much. And sorry for being gone so long. Talk to you all later.
Have a good
Night.
night.